What if the most loyal member of the Straw Hats is also walking toward a fate darker than anyone on the crew realizes? Not a theory, not a guess. The clues are already in the manga, and Oda planted them years ago. Welcome to One Piece Uncovered. Roronoa Zoro is one of the most beloved characters in anime history. Fans know him as the stoic swordsman, the guy who gets lost going straight, and the one crew member who could challenge Luffy for the title of strongest. But underneath that tough exterior is a story loaded with darkness, sacrifice, and some genuinely unsettling details that most casual fans have never noticed. Today we are going in deep, dark backstory, hidden symbolism, disturbing implications of his power, and a final theory that reframes everything you thought you knew about Zoro's endgame. Let us start at the beginning. Most fans know that Zoro made a promise to Kuina, his childhood rival, that one of them would become the greatest swordsman in the world. What people gloss over is just how brutal that origin story actually is. Kuina died falling down a staircase. That is the official explanation given in the story. A girl who was said to be a prodigy, who had never lost a fight, who dreamed of a future she was already being told she could never have because of her gender, died in one of the most mundane and anticlimactic ways possible. No villain, no dramatic battle, just gone. And Zoro, who had lost to her over 200 times, took her sword and carried it as his own. Think about that. Every time Zoro fights with Wado Ichimonji, he is fighting with a dead girl's dream. He did not just take her blade. He took her ambition and added it to his own. He is not just chasing his goal. He is chasing hers too. That is not just a motivational backstory. That is a weight that never leaves him. For a long time, fans debated whether Zoro had Conqueror's haki. Oda confirmed it during Wano, when Zoro clashed with Kaido, and his blades produced the same black lightning effect that only the most powerful characters in the series generate. Here is where it gets interesting. Conqueror's haki is described in the series as the power of kings. It is not something you can train. You either have it or you do not. It is tied to your will, your nature, your destiny. So why does Zoro have it? He is not a king. He has never claimed to want a throne. His goal is singular: become the greatest swordsman in the world. But Oda giving him Conqueror's haki is a deliberate choice, and it suggests that Zoro's role in the story is larger than just being Luffy's right hand. The series implies that the greatest swordsman in the world might need to be something more than a fighter. It might require a level of dominance that goes beyond skill. And if that is true, what does it cost? This is one of the most overlooked dark details in Zoro's entire arc. When Zoro fights Kaku in Enia's lobby, he manifests a form called Asura. 3 heads, 6 arms, 9 swords. It is visually stunning. But what is an Asura? In Buddhist and Hindu mythology, Asura refers to a class of beings that exist in a state of constant war and suffering. They are powerful. They are fierce. But they are trapped in a cycle of conflict they cannot escape. They are not demons exactly, but they are not enlightened beings either. They exist in between, driven by ego, by combat, by an endless need to fight. Zoro did not just come up with a cool attack name. Oda assigned him a mythological identity rooted in eternal struggle and suffering. The Asura is not a power-up. It is a glimpse at what Zoro might be becoming the more he pushes his limits. Zoro's fighting style is built on taking damage. He is not a defensive fighter. He absorbs hits, redistributes pain, and keeps moving. By the time the crew reaches Thriller Bark, he has already been through battles that should have ended him multiple times. And then comes the scene with Bartholomew Kuma. Kuma extracts all of the accumulated pain and damage from Luffy's body and offers it to the crew. Zoro steps forward and takes all of it himself. Every bit. The manga panel shows him standing in a pool of his own blood, barely conscious, telling Sanji with the last bit of energy he has that nothing happened. That moment is iconic, but the dark implication is this. Zoro's body at that point had already taken significant damage throughout the entire Thriller Bark arc. Adding Luffy's pain on top of that means Zoro absorbed what should have been fatal damage twice over in a single night. The fact that he survived says less about his durability and more about how completely he is disconnected from self-preservation. He's not just willing to die for Luffy. He has already accepted that his body is a tool to be used until it breaks. Stay with us, because the final theory coming up changes how you see Zoro's entire future in the story. In Thriller Bark, Zoro fights and defeats a zombie version of the legendary samurai Ryuma. After the fight, Ryuma himself acknowledges Zoro and hands over his black blade, Shusui, calling it a fitting gift. That is not a throwaway moment. Ryuma is treated in the One Piece world the way real history treats mythological warriors. He is the man who slew a dragon. He is the standard by which all swordsmen are measured in Wano. And here is the dark part. Ryuma's body was stolen from its grave and animated by Gecko Moria. The greatest samurai in Wano's history was turned into a weapon, stripped of dignity, and used as a puppet until Zoro beat him back into rest. Oda is drawing a direct line between Ryuma and Zoro. Not just in terms of skill, in terms of legacy and what happens to legends after they die. Ryuma's story did not end with him. It continued in ways he never chose. The implication for Zoro is uncomfortable. Greatness in this world does not guarantee peace. It guarantees that your name and your story will be used long after you are gone. Here is where everything comes together. Mihawk, the current greatest swordsman in the world, is a solitary figure. No crew, no allegiance to a side that truly claims him. He watches. He waits. He exists outside the normal structure of the world. Even his role as a warlord felt like something he accepted, out of mild interest rather than loyalty. For Zoro to surpass Mihawk, he does not just need to beat him in a fight. He may need to become what Mihawk is. And what Mihawk is alone. Zoro's entire identity within the Straw Hats is built on loyalty. He would die for Luffy without hesitation. But the title of greatest swordsman seems to exist outside of crews, outside of bonds, outside of the things Zoro actually values. Oda has been building a quiet tragedy here. The more powerful Zoro becomes, the more he embodies something that does not belong on a pirate ship, the Asura, the Conqueror, the heir to Ryuma's legacy. These are not titles for a first mate. They are titles for something singular. The darkest possibility in Zoro's future is not that he dies. It is that he wins. He becomes the greatest swordsman in the world, and in doing so, he becomes someone who no longer quite fits inside the life he has been fighting to protect. Oda does not write things without intention. Every dark detail in Zoro's story points toward a swordsman who is becoming something beyond human, and the cost of that transformation has not been fully paid yet. That is everything for today. Zoro is not just a powerhouse. He is one of the most carefully constructed tragic figures in the entire series, and most people are too busy watching him cut things to notice. If this video made you think differently about Zoro, drop a like and subscribe to One Piece Uncovered. We go deep so you do not have to wonder alone. And leave a comment with this question in mind. Do you think Zoro can become the greatest swordsman in the world without losing something essential about who he is? Let us talk about it below.